Hello and welcome back to the channel. This episode today is basically the start of piecing together the tender, and I thought I'll get the tender done first out of the way because that actually clears quite a lot of shelf space by turning all the bits of the tender into one homogeneous piece. So piecing together the suspension, I had to make these nuts that go on top of the spring hangers here. Even if I was to buy a stock nut, it would have been too big. So making them myself, I was able to use like a 3/8 piece of hex bar and turn it into a nice bolt which sits lovely on the shelf there for the spring hanger. And then it is a case of just rinse and repeat, bolting them all on, get the spring hangers on, get the dummy springs in place, and then it's a case of flip around and repeat on the opposite side. I'm just remembering I've got to clear all the holes out because this has already been pre-painted, and you can see the lining work that's been done there. It is really nicely done. A lovely thick grey line with a very fine straw line on it and an accompaniment red line against the black. It really does work really well. So yeah, just spring hangers go on, then the dummy springs go on, and I'm just placing all the axle boxes in just so they're in order. A little bit more of a close-up spring hanger going on, using an off-the-shelf M6 stainless steel washer, the homemade nut, and the pre-painted spring hangers. I did have to just run a dye onto the threads just to clean all the paint out of the threads so the nuts would go on nicely. And these do end up being a little bit fiddly, trying to get everything to line up because you've got to allow flexibility so you can get the screws into the back of the dummy spring box or spring pack, sorry. So sometimes I tighten them up a bit too much and have to undo them again, so I've got a little bit more wiggle room. But it all works out in the end, and yeah, they really do look a treat. Now, even though these springs are dummy, so they're a cast spring pack, even though they are dummy, the weight of the suspension which sits between the axle box and that spring pack, it all sits down on there, so this does need to be quite firm. So some 2BA countersunk screws as well as those spring hangers on the ends stops it from going anywhere lovely. So from there, just a nice quick and easy job, just putting the draw hook on, so the coupling hook, just the hook slides into place, the spring goes on, a washer goes on, and then a knocker taper the pin through from the side. And that's it, job done. Really simple task, really satisfying to get that one done. From there, I work on the brake gear. Now, when I unpacked these, they were assembled backwards a little bit. I think one of them was assembled the right way around. So there's an angled section across the top here and a flat section across the bottom. Now the angled section needs to go in towards the brake shoe. That allows the brake shoe to pivot around the bolt that's securing it in place. Without that pivot, the shoe will not find a natural resting position against the wheel. And as is evident, it has run in the past with those in almost a fixed position. So straight away I cleaned all the paint off, and these are going to be painted assembled. I think before they were painted disassembled, which actually fills the gap in the brake shoe with paint and it stops it from pivoting. So I assemble them all, then I paint them, and then it's one of those, a drop of oil in there, just to allow that pivot to move freely and stop any build up of rust in there. On to these plates here. These are plates where I'm going to mount the water valves to. Now you can see the floor's got quite a lot of holes in. It's had different valves on over the years. This is getting brand new water valves, so I've made these plates which actually allow me to stably mount the valve, especially the one on the left here. The hole is actually partially in that big square that's cut out. The square cut out there is for the brake rigging to go through, which actually puts it runs straight through the middle of the hole for the water valve, so that's why I've gone for this plate idea. So those go bolted in, and then the new water valves get passed through from the bottom, not on the top, and fastened securely in place. It is a bit of an awkward setup because the water valve handle actually comes through the tender top, so it is an awkward setup, but it gets the job done. Then with the water valves in place, I can get on to plumbing. Now I love plumbing. I love making new plumbing. The original plumbing on this, albeit there was probably nothing wrong with it, the joints on it were soft soldered. Yes, it's a cold water system and soft solder is good enough, but soft solder is also weak, and over years and years of use it can get brittle and leaks can form. So I'm going for my personal best practice is put brand new pipes on, brand new unions, and silver soldered joints. I silver solder them off camera, and that happens pretty much at the beginning of tomorrow. Yeah, so this is a last job of the day really. Just getting all the pipework bent up and in place, so come the morning I can solder it all up and get them on. Yeah, I just really find it satisfying bending pipe. You get a roll of soft copper, you straighten it, you put your pipe bend in, use a proper pipe bender, and you get lovely bends, and it really does look smart. It looks tidy, and you know exactly where the water's going when the pipe runs are nice. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll see how much I love pipes. I'm probably saying that a bit too much, it's going to sound weird. These small pipes here, that's just basically the water takeoffs from the valve. Rubber hose will be added later to connect the tender to the engine. Yeah, also while I'm doing this, I'm making sure that I am dressing all the ends of the pipe, because I'm using this twist pipe cutter. It tends to cause a roll onto the inside of the pipe, so I'm making sure I'm going in there with a deburring tool and filing the end flush, so I've not got any restriction to flow of water. And then once that's in place, I'll move you in for a closer look. Just move some of these tools out of the way, and then you can come and have a shufty. Now one part that is original is the T-piece at the front, which goes to the bottom of the tank. But yeah, all the other pipes are new, and that's looking grand. Now, towards the end of the day, just getting a load of painting done so it can be drying overnight. I'm just going through and adding a coat of gloss back paint to all of the axle boxes and wheel sets. They have been primed previously, so I didn't have to do any priming. I've just taped off the bearing surfaces on these axle boxes and also on the wheel sets, and then just given a really nice coat of gloss black just to tie it in with everything else on the engine. I'm not particularly worried about the tread surfaces on these tyres. You get any paint on there, it will wear off on the track. I've done it before where I've meticulously masked off wheels, but they go rusty within a couple of days, so it's hardly worth having nice shiny flanges and whatnot on the wheel sets, especially these older ones, and they're already covered in black paint and primer already, so it will all rub off on the track. Now it comes to all the little bits that weren't painted on this. Some of all the brake gear, basically some of the brake gear that I've made off camera, just going through and wiring it all up so I can hang it all up and give it a good coat of acid etch primer, followed by a good 2 or 3 coats of satin black. Yeah, this is actually quite a satisfying part of this. It's hanging everything up. I don't know why. I just really enjoy sticking bits of wire through holes and twisting it and hanging it up on a rack. Much like hanging out the washing. That's probably quite a satisfying job as well. But yeah, it's just rinse and repeat. Hang all these parts up. Then it's these clothes rails. I think I got from IKEA for about £7 each. I think they were, and you get packs of S hooks, which £2 or £3 for a dozen hooks, and then you can just hang everything up. And the good thing about this is I can spray it all. I've got the big fan in the background, so I'm spraying everything, and then I'm going to turn it round and spray it from the other side. Also, it allows me to stay out of the direction of the paint, because it's all getting sucked into that fan behind, so I'm not stood on the back side of my work. And then once it's painted, I can move it out of the way and get on with the next bits. Really super satisfying doing painting this way. You can get it done quick, and you can manoeuvre around. Okay, so primer's gone off. Now it's on with the black. So rinse and repeat. Give everything a good coat. Just making sure I'm dancing around the part as well. So I am trying to get it from every angle. So you'll see me ducking and diving. I'm getting underneath it, on top of it. Just making sure I'm getting around it. Oh, in fact, no, that was just primer coat. I'd run out of primer, so I've got a new can. Right, now on with the black. So yeah, just dancing around these parts, making sure I am getting maximum coverage of my paint. Again, spin it round, so I'm painting away from the fan, and it's taking all the overspray out through the filter, instead of it going into my lungs and all over my clothes. And just giving everything a lovely liberal coat of satin black paint. Not going too heavy because I don't want to get runs, but I also want to get maximum coverage as well. And I do find that one good coat can be enough, but I do come back in and do a second coat. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up my day on this build. As always, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'm pretty sure there'll be another video tomorrow, so enjoy. I'll see you in the next video.